Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Behind the Door series. My name is Kirsten Cole, and I'm one of the mental health therapists here at LB Counseling. Today, we are going to be discussing self-esteem. So, what is self-esteem? Where does it come from? And how do we build it? This is a topic that I work with a lot of clients on, whether it's low self-esteem in adulthood or it's an adolescent, and we are trying to build those foundational blocks of self-esteem. So, self esteem is basically the sum of self confidence and self respect. It is a reflection of your perceived ability to overcome obstacles and your right to happiness. And our self esteem develops as we go throughout our childhood. It's affected by our perception of how we handle certain situations. Experiences as a child are essentially the building blocks of our self esteem. Our successes, our failures, how we're treated by members of our immediate family, how we're treated by our teachers, how we're treated by coaches, and our friends all contribute to our sense of self-esteem. Now, there is healthy self-esteem and then there is low self-esteem. And healthy self-esteem often comes off as boasting about yourself too much or maybe some narcissistic tendencies. However, that's simply not true. Healthy self-esteem means you have a balanced view of yourself. You believe in your abilities and you can recognize your flaws without judgment. Low self-esteem means that you have a poor view of your abilities. You frequently focus on your flaws and believe that others are going to be more capable than you are. And notice between the two of healthy self-esteem and low self-esteem is that judgment piece. So, in healthy self esteem, we don't judge ourselves for our flaws. We accept and we embrace them. But in low self esteem, we consistently judge our flaws, and that most likely leads to a lot of negative self talk. And we also have to remember what is self esteem and what is self worth, because they are similar, but they're different at the same time. Self-esteem is how you feel about your qualities and your characteristics, and your self-worth is how you feel about your value and if you are lovable. And building self-esteem is one step at a time. There's no right way of doing it. You have to look at one thing at a time, and so I'm going to talk about 4 different ways that we can build self-esteem in our lives. The first one is going to be boundaries and saying no. No is a complete sentence. It is important to understand that when we do set boundaries, that no is a complete sentence and we don't owe explanations. Healthy self-esteem will come from producing boundaries, which show you deserve to be treated well by others. Another way of building healthy self-esteem is developing a better sense of the self. If you have developed a pattern of ignoring your needs to please others, you may have a skewed sense of yourself and not know who you are. And if you have a skewed sense of yourself, how can you have that self-esteem? Another way is to embrace mistakes. Now, I know that sounds incredibly hard, but when we often view mistakes as failures, that contributes to low self-esteem. We are human. It is part of the human experience to make mistakes. If we go back to thinking about healthy self-esteem versus low self-esteem, the piece that I pointed out there was judgment. So if we are judging ourselves on our mistakes and saying that we're failures, that is cultivating a low self-esteem. But if we embrace the mistakes and embrace the human experience, that develops healthy self-esteem. And lastly, one of the final building blocks is acknowledging success. It is okay to celebrate your successes. You deserve it. If you've worked really hard for something, celebrate it. When I talked about what is self-esteem, it was our perceived ability to overcome obstacles. So if we do overcome an obstacle, why can't we just celebrate it? Celebrating successes helps build our self-esteem. And finally, remembering to practice self-compassion. And that involves acting the same way towards yourself as you would to someone else when you're having a difficult time. Something that I like to say to all of my clients is, would you say that to your best friend? Is what you're saying to yourself something that you would say to your best friend or your sister or your brother or your parent? Oftentimes that answer is no. So why do we say those things to ourselves? We have to practice kindness and acceptance with our humanness. So that is just a very brief introduction of what is self-esteem and how do we build it. Like I said, our building blocks of self-esteem come in our childhood, but that doesn't mean you can't start taking those steps of building healthy self-esteem in your adulthood. It is possible. If you want change to happen, then you have to make the change. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, drop a comment below, or if you have any questions, feel free to comment and I'll answer it. I hope you all have a wonderful day.